Well, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is show 33. It is so exciting to be here. Of course, we are broadcasting live from the My Michigan TV studios. I'm Brooke Allen. Thank you for being with us. If this is your first time watching, you might be wondering what we're all about. Well, let me tell you, we are a show that is geared toward women topics. But in my broadcasting career, people often ask me how I do choose a topic for the show. And I always go by, if I'm thinking about something or if I have a question, there must be somebody else out there wondering the same thing. So that's kind of how I pick my topics in my interviews. And of course, if you ever have a topic you think we should talk about or you just want to talk about, reach out to us. You can reach out to me on social media and we will get back to you, and then we will check it out and we will definitely talk about it. Well, we have had many amazing giveaways. Last week was the zoo. This week, oh my God, I'm so hungry, is the Coney kit from American Coney Island. Of course, all you need to do is like, follow, and comment with the number 33. And of course, Jason will tell us who the lucky winner is at the end of the show. Again, just comment with the number 33 for this Coney kit. Well, David King is sitting next to me, and June is Pride Month, which of course began as a tribute to those who were involved in the Stonewall riots in New York on June 28, 1969. And while we have made huge strides for equality from gay marriage and adoption, there is still a long way to go. David King, you are not only the Director of Operations for Jeffrey King Interiors, you are also his husband.
I am.
You are. How long have you guys been together?
We'll be going on 30 years next year.
Okay, so 30 years.
30 years.
And you got married what year?
We got married about 8 years ago, right when it became legal, and primarily for the kids' sake.
Okay.
You know, we have 3 adopted daughters ranging from 28, 25, and 18, and I'm still 21. So
how did that happen?
I don't know how that happened, but you know, yeah, they're great. Yeah, 30 years. It's been a ride. You know, I see a lot of my friends who are much younger than I am who ask us, you know, about the adoption process, how it came, how you know, how we did it, and I always feel really, it's been kind of sad because for us it was quite natural. Like, it was the universe, and each kid kind of came organically. And there's so many more obstacles for young couples now. A lot of them are forced into foster adoption, which is such a risk. 80% of them get taken back from their, you know, foster families, which a good friend of ours, the couple just had that happen after a year. So it's tough. I wish I had better and wiser words to give the younger you know, gay community, but it's just, I feel like we're taking a step backwards.
So that's interesting you say that, because I mean, gay marriage was you know, I mean, so many strides it feels like, but at the same time, I know you feel, you know, I mean, you said it on the phone with me the other day, and you just said it now. It feels like we're kind of going backward, and there's so many kids out there that do need help and that are in the foster system, but the process is long and tedious. And the kids, the girls, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All 3 of them. I have a 18-year-old at home, which I still call her the baby, which really...
Hello, baby.
Hi, baby. She's probably got a couple credit cards right now, so she's good.
Right.
And the 25-year-old who is a fashion major and is doing some work in Chicago and learning the ropes from the grounds up. And I have a almost 28-year-old who is in sales in Grand Rapids. So certainly hasn't been easy. You know, a lot of what comes with adoption is the unknown. A lot of mental illness comes with the unknown, a lot of drug addiction. All 3 of our girls had come from addictive mothers, either crack or you know, various cocaine and substance abuse. So you don't see that with young girls until, you know, that happy time that happens with each girl.
Right.
And so once that happens, you know, you see a lot of hormonal changes. And if there's mental, you know, health, and we have one, our oldest, who struggles with it and has chosen not to be part of our life at this moment. But, you know, it's part of the risk you take, I suppose. But I love them all 3 equally, and, you know, she'll find her way.
Right, for sure. So when you and Jeffrey first met 30 years ago, I mean, 30 years is a long time to be with somebody. And
keep reminding me.
You know, congratulations on that, actually. I'm going to give you a clap for that.
I'll clap for that.
So, I mean, how has it changed for you guys from 30 years ago to today?
Well, Jeffrey was the first person I ever had gone on a date with that talked about children. You know, a lot of, you know, our friends, and not all, please don't be calling Brooke, but a lot of my gay friends are selfish. They don't want to give up their time, and that's just in a gay relationship, but, you know, a lot of people, you have to really wanted. It's, you know, I joke with my friends, it's not like I got knocked up on a Saturday night. I mean, I really had to work for this, you know. I got fingerprinted. I mean, even I was impressed that I got cleared with everything. But, you know, there was a lot of steps that went into adoption. And, you know, and it's been, you know, when I remember having my first date, it was at Midtown Cafe in Birmingham, that's long gone, one of my favorite restaurants. And our first conversation was about having a family, and I didn't think that that was a reality in our lifetime. I just thought it was a conversation. And we had known a couple who had just adopted their first baby, and, you know, like anything, within 8 months later, we were with the adoption agency.
Really, it was that quick.
It was that quick, and yeah, and it was long. It was, you know, we had many mothers change their mind at the last hour. We lost 3 adoptions going through that process, but, you know, I believe the 3 daughters that we, you know, have in our life right now were meant to be with us. So, you know, I'm very grateful that I'm not that young person again starting over. So now I'm hopefully going to enjoy the second 50 of my life.
Exactly. So tell me what you were thinking on your wedding day. How was that for you? Because I'm sure that is a thought that you never thought that would happen either.
Well, you know, the wedding day was super embarrassing because I was so awkward. Like, I mean, it was very small. We had a handful of friends. It was at the, which used to be called the Church of Tomorrow. Marianne Williamson used to run it. It has a new pastor now. And we called him coming home from up north, and I said, you know, it's legal, will you marry us? And we were the first couple married at that church. And Jeffrey's parents, my parents have been passed for a while now, and so it was Jeffrey's parents and my kids and my office manager and her girlfriend and her kid, and I was sweating bullets. And when I am one of those people that get the funeral giggles, when I'm uncomfortable, I get the giggles.
Right.
And it was just pouring down my body.
Sweating and laughing.
And Jeffrey's standing at me, and Jeffrey's saying, he goes, "You better pull it together." And I was like, the more he's yelling at me, the more I'm
laughing.
crying. And thank God his dear departed mother, who passed a couple years ago, when it was all done and said, she said, "Oh my God, you were so emotional. It was beautiful." And she had no idea I was laughing at her son.
At her son?
So yeah, I don't watch that video.
Does Jeffrey watch that video?
Nope. Nope. Nope.
So, okay.
Couldn't tell you where it is.
Nope. Okay. So it is June, and of course Pride Month.
Yes.
So how do you feel about Pride Month?
You know, my kids, especially the 18-year-old, it's such a different time because, you know, she likes boys. She might have been with some girl. I don't know, and I don't judge. But all of her friends are so, you know, fluid and open. This generation is just so much different than I guess I'm kind of a gay prude in that aspect of my life. But she, you know, she's an advocate. She's a strong advocate for her, you know, gay, lesbian, I always say it wrong, transgen, Q plus. Sorry, don't call Brooke.
Thank you for that disclaimer.
I will. And, you know, and she like stops me mid-track if I'm saying a sentence wrong, or if I am not, you know, putting it into terms that she feels is appropriate for her friend. I get schooled that, you know, she's like, it's they, she, them. I've tried to get it, but I don't understand it, which makes me feel old. But, you know, I also have an office manager who was married, who came out later in life and has a girlfriend, has a daughter who has come out as a lesbian. And so, you know, we're down at the Ferndale Pride. You know, it's just, I almost wish there was something when I was younger that I had that. You know, I grew up in a small town called Howell, and that was the last thing you were going to do was march in Howell. There were some other things that were burning in Howell, but not
again, don't call Brooke.
It's changed. I'm sure Howell's gotten better. You know, so I just grew up in a different world. I mean, you know, I was a quiet gay. I was a hidden gay. I was, you know, just didn't go out. You know, when I went out, bars were on like 6 Mile back entrances, and, you know, in really bad neighborhoods. And, you know, now it's just, especially in Ferndale and in Berkeley and things like that, it's just seemed to have, like, the community has let down, but the world has gotten harder on them. You know what I mean? It's like the community in which they live embraces them, but it just seems like now we're coming with all these obstacles of actually taking laws back that were given. And I'm so afraid that, you know, God forbid my daughter's, you know, best friend gets to a point where she wants to marry, and that right might not be there anymore.
Right.
And that's terrifying, because, and that's not just the gay rights. There's a lot of rights that are coming up on the table at this election, which I will not get political.
Thank you.
But it is, you know, but it is slightly terrifying that, you know, I feel like we've pioneered so to get to this point, and now we're just kind of taking baby steps backwards. So, you know, when we have young, you know, gay couples that come to us to ask for advice, you know, I don't know how valid my advice is, because I don't know if it'll still work for them when they get older.
So what is your number one piece of advice?
Patience. Patience is a big one for me, not to jump into things. Listening, come up with, Jeffrey and I, well, it's how my dad found out I was gay. We had in our house a little living and loving agreement that was on the wall, and it was just simple things about, sharing responsibilities, it just things that we thought of, things that every couple argues with. So whenever either one of us got uncomfortable, we started a fight, we would just go push the other in front of that agreement. And, and it saved us from a lot of, we've going on 30 years from, everything from COVID. I mean, we spend a lot of time together. We work together. We travel together. We raise kids together. So, we must really like each other. But it's work. It's not easy. And any relationship's not easy. But, there's an underlying foundation of really strong love and respect for each other. So I think that's what's gotten us this far.
Well, you know what, again, congratulations on 30 years. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Sharing your thoughts, sharing your family with us. And thanks so much. Don't spill your coffee on me.
I won't.
And that is David King. Thank you again, David, for being here. He is, again, the Director of Operations for Jeffrey King Interiors based out of Birmingham. Well, you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is a show where we brew up topics from a woman's point of view, and every month we highlight a nonprofit for our caffeinated act of kindness. Terry Grail started Enchanted Makeover 16 years ago, and she says they don't decorate shelters, they transform lives. And they do that with people all over the country. Let's watch.
My name is Amy Barrickman. I am from Kansas City. I have two companies, Indigo Junction and the Vintage Workshop. Handmade has been so popular recently. I think with a handmade gift, a handmade accessory for the home, there's just extra meaning in something like that, especially to both the maker and the receiver. And I think for Enchanted Makeovers, the idea that women are surrounded by products that have heart. They're not just manufactured, they actually have a story behind them, and it can have such meaning to someone who's maybe feeling a little alone or disconnected. So I think that just is a really special way that Terry has been able to bring comfort and happiness and a little sunshine into people's lives.
And they do so many amazing projects. You can find out how you can help at enchantedmakeovers.org. Well, surviving summer with money and your ex-spouse, it can get complicated. Whether you're going through a divorce or are already divorced and you're dealing with all of the costs of summer camp, their sports, or just maybe even vacation. Jackie Rossler is a certified divorce financial analyst. And Jackie, how do you manage all of that summer fun that seems to cost so much?
So the best way to manage it is to prepare in advance for it.
Okay.
So people that are getting divorced, if there's anybody who's listening who's in the process of divorce, it's important to remember that you have to think about those extracurricular expenses, because child support in Michigan does not cover those things.
Right, so you have to kind of put that in a separate category almost.
You do, and a lot of times when people are going through a divorce, they're thinking about child, parenting time and spousal support and who gets the house, and they're not thinking about what's going to happen when my kid wants to go to camp,
right,
or how are we going to handle a school trip that the kids want to go on. So I always recommend to clients that even though you're thinking about all these big things, the little things have to be addressed also in your divorce decree, because anything that's not written is not going to happen most likely.
Okay, so how do you get the ex-spouse, whether it be the husband or wife, right, or whoever, to kind of come to the table to talk about this if you're right in the middle of the divorce?
So usually this should happen at the very end. So you've got the big thing settled, maybe a conversation during a mediation about, there's going to be extracurricular expenses. Make sure that we're going to address those. And if you can get your spouse to talk about it, that's great. If you can't, you need to push with your attorney before you sign any agreement that those things be included.
Okay, so when you come into the process, you come into the beginning pretty much, and
right,
you help the couples kind of deal with this, but you're right, people don't think about the summer stuff, right? Because you are involved and engulfed in this whole thing of, the mortgage payment, the car payments, insurance payments, all of that stuff.
Right.
So what if you've missed your opportunity and you really need to figure this out? I mean, do you go back? I mean, I know you said call your attorney, but what if you're amicable and you can talk about it?
If you're amicable and you can talk about it, I mean, I love, there's an app that I recommend to all my clients. It's called App Close.
Oh, there's an app for that. That's
There's
good.
an app for it. And I love this app because, first of all, there's no cost for the app. But I love the app because you can put in your kid's schedule. You can put in a request for reimbursement for items, and you can actually send payments back and forth through the app, and you can share it with your babysitters, with your other caregivers, so that everybody can be on the same page about where the kids are going in the summer. So if you're amicable, you can talk to your former spouse. It's ideal to do it before summer starts. When you start planning.
There are procrastinators out there. Let's just say that.
But generally you should do it before the summer starts, and you think about, okay, what do we want the kids to be doing? And if the kids are not going to be in any kind of camp or daycare, who's going to take care of them? And how is that going to work with our schedule?
Right. So then there's that. I mean, summer is a lot,
hard.
right? I mean, summer is supposed to be fun. It is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun. But it is a lot when you are shuffling kids back and forth and there's so many activities. And it kind of gets overwhelming, not only for the parents, but for the kids too, I think.
Absolutely. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid having the kids feel stressed about it. So, I mean, there are times too that, I always tell clients, if you didn't get that in your judgment, let's assume that you're going to be paying for those things.
Like full on.
Full on. So let's look at your budget and let's make sure that you've budgeted in that you're going to pay for those things out of pocket if they're important to you. I know that's not probably fun to hear, but nobody wants to hire their attorney to go back to court and argue about something that's going to be more expensive to go back to court and argue about it than to just incorporate it into your budget.
Right, so you incorporate into your budget, and then, okay, so say that you just have to kind of eat those expenses for the first summer, right? Maybe. But then can you go back to the table and say, okay, for next summer we're doing this different?
You can always go back to the table. I was talking to someone the other day that they had created something when the kids were really, really young. If they got, if you get divorced when your kids are young, their expenses change. They get more expensive as they get older.
Yeah, they do.
They got bigger costs. So yes, you can always go back. You are never stuck with what it says. And I think that, again, that's where people could use a little bit more advice. You think that when you're going through divorce that your attorney, not to offend any attorneys
again, don't call Brooke.
But that you think that your attorney knows everything and is looking out for you. You just count on them 100%. But you have to ask those important questions. Things that are important to you, don't let them go during the divorce process.
I think, too, though, that there's some questions that you don't even think about until it's done.
Right.
Right? So then you're like, oh, this is great. Now what? Just write a check.
Right. So that's my job.
That is your job.
My job is to come in early and try to help think about, because when you're going through a divorce, it's so traumatic and it's difficult to focus on even these big financial pieces. And you don't think necessarily about how your life is going to be impacted by the day-to-day expenses. And I think there's a great misunderstanding in Michigan that child support should cover your living expenses, and it really doesn't.
Okay, so what should child support cover?
Child support is to turn on the lights, the electricity, your groceries. Child support does not cover extracurricular expenses. It doesn't cover it does cover out-of-pocket healthcare costs, obviously, but it doesn't cover things like college funding, private school tuition. I mean, all of those
Even
things.
like cars, right?
Cars, phones.
There's a lot.
Car insurance.
Car insurance.
Yeah, so none of that is actually covered. So you really need to, before you sign anything, you want to think about, like, I always like there to be an exit plan for everything. Like, what if this doesn't happen? Then what's my recourse? That needs to be in your final agreement.
The exit plan.
The exit plan. What do you do if it doesn't work out? So let's say that you agree, we're going to split expenses 40-60 or whatever the amount is, and then your spouse doesn't pay. Well, now what? So your judgment of divorce really should say what's going to happen if one party doesn't comply. And that's true with all of the financial components in your divorce.
It really is, isn't it? And people, like you said, divorce is emotional, and there's a lot of anger, whatever emotions you're feeling.
Right.
And sometimes you don't have the wherewithal to actually think about everything you'll need.
Right.
Right. So that's where you kind of come in. And I mean, you help couples filing for the divorce, going through the divorce.
So nothing legal. I don't do anything that relates to the legal aspect. So everything financial is my purview. So I work with couples at the beginning. I work with people that are thinking about divorce. I have a couple of cases right now where they don't know if they can afford it. And so they reached out to me to see, can we run some numbers and see what's my worst case scenario.
Okay.
So I work with people pre-divorce. I work with women and men during divorce. I work with couples, sometimes as a neutral. And I work with clients post-divorce to help them transition all of their finances.
Okay, so what is your one piece of advice for maybe couples thinking about getting divorced?
With or without children.
Oh gosh. Let's throw in the kids.
Okay, so my one piece of advice is if you have children that you stop and think about some of these things, because these are the things that are going to impact your kids' daily life when the divorce is done. And so even though they seem like they're kind of digging into the minutia, they're not.
Okay, and how can people get in touch with you if they need some advice?
So I have a podcast called Divorce Rich. They can find me wherever they have find their podcast, and also I have a business in Birmingham and Southfield. You can reach me by checking out my website at wrestlerdivorce.com.
Okay, thanks so much, Jackie. I appreciate you. Thank you. And again, that is Jackie Wrestler, certified divorce financial analyst. I think I got that. Well, money is all on our minds these days, but if there is one thing that we may not think about, it is life insurance. According to a 2020 study from the Life Insurance and Market Research Association, 58% of men in Michigan own life insurance policies, but that is compared to 47% of women. And when women do have life insurance, their average level of coverage is significantly lower. Well, Lynn Sterla is the owner of Sterla Insurance Agency with Michigan Farm Bureau Insurance. And Lynn, we put this topic in our Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise segment because it's kind of a little bit of all of that, isn't it?
Exactly. And what you had mentioned, especially with the women versus men, what I hear a lot when I'm speaking with people, excuse me, is that they'll say, well, my wife is at home, she doesn't need insurance, I make the money, and if anything happens. What they're not thinking is, you know, if something were to happen to their wife, she's handling everything at home. That potentially, if you have children, the house, and then you won't. One thing that may happen also is you'd be impacted by the tragedy and you may not be able to work or your children need you, so you need to have things in place.
So life insurance, everyone always says, well, first of all, they say, I don't need it. Second of all, they say it's too expensive. So kind of walk us through, because life insurance is not that expensive.
Well, what you need to do is just have the conversation, because pretty much everyone needs life insurance. It's the key to the future. And if you have a family, if you have people that are depending on you, you need to have something in place. There was a poll that I just saw recently with payroll.org. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. With that in mind, and you see on Nextdoor, if things happen, GoFundMe, all these things happen where people are trying to get money after the fact. The real key is to think about it, plan it, speak with someone that you trust, and come up with a plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can find something that works within your budget, and it's better than having nothing at all. You can't go back after the fact and change anything.
So I can say that I've actually done the application with you.
Yes,
and it was easy. I mean, it is, there are questions on it, of course, but it's a lot. I mean, it is intimidating to think about. First of all, I think because we don't like to think about our mortality.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that's a big part of it. Second of all is when you do think about your family, I mean, my twins are 12, and if something happened, I wouldn't really know, well, I'd be gone, so it wouldn't matter, but I would hate to think of them stuck.
Yeah.
And their life changing because the financial stability is gone.
Exactly.
And that makes a big difference to people.
And there's a rule of thumb. Sometimes people will say, think about like your income times 10 years, children's college, perhaps weddings, things like that. So you'll come up with a figure, and then you'll have your budget, and it's going to be a little different.
Right.
So you just need to start somewhere, like I said, and just get it going. And with the process that you mentioned, it's basically what you're trying to do is get a health rating. You're either a smoker or non-smoker, and that's the basic categories. And then it can go from super preferred, preferred, standard, and then they have table ratings if you have some health issues. So it can get more expensive, but you need to determine that first. It's like a 20-minute application. There's no obligation when you're doing the application. And then they may look at your medical records if they need to, and then potentially you may have to do what's called a paramed examination. And you'll be speaking with someone about that.
I will be speaking with Brad in a meeting about that, because I thought it was important to, I mean, you hear, well, you have to get an exam, and you're like, well, I don't want an exam, or, and then how inconvenient, because everyone's time is so limited, it seems.
Yes.
So the paramedical exam,
We love working with apps.
Right, because they make it simple.
They're one of our partner companies, and after I speak with you, if you need to have that, they will contact you and schedule that with you. They can come to your home. They can do it first thing in the morning, so you don't have to, it's a good idea not to eat a bunch of food and things like that before you're getting your blood drawn.
Right.
So they will handle that with you, and they make it very simple, and they're very easy to work with.
Okay, so what is the one question you ask people when determining what life insurance they may need? I know there's many, but what's the first one?
The first one would be, what do you have in place already?
And what's the answer you usually
get? A lot of
get?
times I'll hear, we're all set, we have it through work. Well, that's great to have that, but you don't necessarily own that plan. And you also have to think, a few years from now, maybe you're not working at that company, and now you're 5 years older, and maybe something's happened to your health. So you really should own your own plan outside of work, and think of that as like a bonus, so that's what.
Okay.
My first
and real quick, let's talk about the age, because you had said too that some people realize, oh, I don't have as much life insurance as I thought, or I want to cover my grandkids. But then as you get older, that kind of affects it too.
It does. I have some clients that are in their 70s, and their daughters or sons are older, and they still want to be able to leave them something and support them, and they may not necessarily qualify, but a lot of them do. So it'll be more expensive, and a lot of times people have money they want to leave on. So if you've got money in an annuity or CD, that can be, you can purchase a single premium whole life policy that will instantly be worth more money, and it will be left tax-free to your heirs. So.
Okay, and I know that this seems like a lot of percentages and questions, but it is super important, because you really just don't want to leave anyone behind.
Yes. After
you're gone. And you, I love you because you walk me through everything. I ask a lot of questions, clearly, but it's just so, I trust you, and the process is pretty simple. So it's just kind of reaching out and asking that question, what do you have?
Exactly.
And if you think you have it and you don't, you need to call in.
Yeah, if you're not sure, you're probably not prepared.
Okay, so that is Lynn Sturla, and Lynn can be found at where?
SturlaInsurance.com. Right, there's my banner.
There it is, there's your banner.
STURLA, and you can call me directly at 248-880-8782.
And of course, Lynn will walk you through the process, and I appreciate your patience with me and all my questions.
Oh no, it was a pleasure, always a pleasure.
And the eggs helped. We might have snuck in a breakfast there.
Yes, that was the best part.
It wasn't. Thank you, Lynn. Well, you just heard Lynn mention paramedical exams, and that can make many people nervous because they really don't know what to expect, or maybe they do and they're afraid of needles or getting blood taken. It may not be as scary as that, or time-consuming as you think. In fact, I am expecting, like Lynn mentioned, to have a paramedical exam in my near future, and Brad Poremba is the Regional Sales Director of Apps Paramedical. And Brad, okay, we heard Lynn kind of mention it. Thank you first for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
but we
it.
heard Lynn mention it's pretty simple.
It's very simple. So the process is we get the order from Lynn or whomever may order the exam. Our examiners or our office will call the clients, set up a date and time that works for them. People got busy lives. They work 9 to 5. We try to make it convenient for them. We go to their home or their workplace if that's an option for them. You don't want to drive, especially with all this construction everywhere.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know, right?
Blood pressure through the roof, trying to get somewhere.
Right.
So we try to make it easy at home. You want to be seen on a weekend, we have examiners that do weekend work.
And you actually will go to someone's home too, right?
Absolutely, go right to their home, whether they want to be seen early morning. I got some people that start at 5 a.m. because some clients want early morning appointments.
Right.
Some people that want appointments at 6, 7 p.m. Whatever works best for the client, we're going to try to pair up the best fit their schedule.
Okay, so you do have a box with you. What's in there?
I'm not going to draw your blood if
Okay,
that's
well,
what you're
good.
looking for.
I'm not afraid
All
of
right?
needles really, but yeah, I'm not real keen on getting my blood taken
I
today.
don't like them either.
But it's so simple, right?
It's very simple.
All right, so show me what's in your kit so
we
people
come
know
out,
what to expect.
It comes out, we got our gloves, and then the urine cup that goes into it. It's not the fun stuff. Hopefully everybody didn't eat breakfast yet. And then a couple tubes that come with the blood. It's just 2 very small tubes. So if you're worried, if you're scared of needles.
A lot of people are scared of needles.
I'm scared of needles too.
Oh, you are?
And every examiner that we bring on board draws my blood first.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So that way we make sure we get the best to come to your home.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I've
well,
been a pincushion a time or two.
Oh, well, that's good then. Good to know. Thank you. I feel much better now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the very small vials. So just quick draw. It takes maybe about 2 minutes, if that, to get through. And once it's through, it's packaged back up. We send it to the laboratory that processes everything. And then some people want to know their results, what took place, how did I turn out?
Right.
We give them information so that they can access those results as well.
Oh, okay.
They get
So
all
it's
the
not
information.
necessarily through the insurance agent, and they can do that on their own as well.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Blood pressure taken too, I assume?
Blood pressure, we do height, weight measurements. We ask some medical.
Wait, boo.
I know, me too. Some medical history questions. We always advise to try to make an early morning appointment. Your weight's the lowest in the morning. Your blood pressure is the easiest, lowest in the morning. So
Okay.
we try to coach the people that we're seeing to get the best results possible for them. But
Right.
it's a very quick, very, very easy process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so does that appointment, do you guys reach out directly to make that appointment, or does everything go through the insurance agent? Or
We call the clients directly.
You do?
So
Okay.
either our office or the examiners reach out to the clients directly, see what works best for their schedule, get them set, go out and see them, and get it done as quick as possible.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be seeing you soon.
I'll have my best come to you. Call me first, and we'll get it set up for you.
I'll call you and be like, okay, it's time. But you said weight is lowest in the morning, so
Correct.
you're coming at 3 a.m., man.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I got someone that can do it.
All right, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Brad. I appreciate
All
you
right.
being here and kind of
Thanks.
explaining this, because I thought it was important to kind of show people how simple it is, and for you to explain how it's not really that time consuming.
Nope, a normal exam would take roughly about 15 to 20 minutes or so to get through.
All right.
So real quick and easy.
Real
right
quick
now.
and easy. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for your time.
I appreciate it. Well, you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and we've heard the term merch. That is what all the cool kids say when it comes to buying something from one of their favorite YouTubers or influencers. But guess who else has some merch? Let's watch. And look, I have my own buttons. I'm so excited. And here, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I have been forgetting to hand these out to the guests.
I got mine.
Oh, you got yours. Okay, I'm just gonna like toss them out eventually, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here. Of course, we have a cool button here with Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and thank you.
Yeah,
Can we just pin it on all over the place, right?
There we go.
Well, spring and summer seem to be notorious for wanting to refresh or redo your home, and Veronica Simmons is an interior designer.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you so much for being with us. And you own Simmons & Co. Design,
Correct.
right?
In Commerce Township.
In Commerce Township. And it's so funny because when I was talking to Carolyn about this, and I said, I want to talk about wallpaper.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I remember my mom's rooster wallpaper, right?
Well, there you go.
And so
In the kitchen,
yeah, in
and
the
the border,
kitchen, right?
right,
And then my
right,
holly
right.
hobby in my bedroom. But Carolyn said, oh wait, it has come back.
It
But
has come back.
It is cool and so much better. So you have brought some samples, and I'm so excited about this.
Yes. So I'm taking over the table.
You are taking
I'm
over the
taking
table. I'm
over
moving my coffee because I
I'm
don't want to
taking
spill
over
it,
the
man.
table.
Okay, let's do this.
So wallpaper's back, and it's not your grandma's wallpaper. It's not your mom's wallpaper
roosters?
anymore, right? There's so many things that we can do with wall covering, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Okay.
Right? So when we think about wallpaper nowadays, we're thinking about it usually in 3 different ways as accents, right?
Okay.
So we're thinking about it, we're doing a lot more on ceilings,
Really?
which is really fun and interesting. We're doing a lot in powder rooms, which has always kind of been traditional, right? To accent the powder room
Right.
as a fun place for guests to go when
Right.
they have to use the restroom. And then we're doing a lot of stairwells. So you think when you walk into a home and you've got that accent stairwell, that accent wall, using those three spots as
Okay.
nice accents for wallpaper are kind of first initial ways to get into it, right?
Okay, right.
So I bought some things today for you to see, right? I bought some fabric
Oh,
too.
is this a blanket?
Yeah, no,
What
I
is
bought
this?
some fabric too because you can't do wallpaper without fabric.
Can I wear this?
Right?
I don't know. I love it.
But one of the things we like to look at, I'll show the first one, which
Okay.
is just texture, right?
Right.
So this is giving us, it's not giving us major pattern.
Right.
It's something simple. You shouldn't be scared of
And
this.
it's calming.
And it's calming, right?
Yeah, I love that color.
So texture could be great just for an accent wall. Texture is also really popular for ceilings. We don't put a lot of prints on ceilings,
Okay.
right? So when you want something just to give you a little accent on the on the top, you're looking for a basic texture.
Okay.
Right? Stripes. I'll close this
All
one.
right.
Stripes. Who doesn't love a good stripe?
I love stripes.
There you go, right? So we're showing a stripe here in a light blue. It could be in a gray. It could be in a dark blue. It could be in whatever.
So what is the hottest color right now? Oh, that's a whole nother question.
It is a whole nother question. I would say green though. You know, we
Really?
just got back from Market Trends back in February in Vegas,
Right.
and green, partially because we see biophilic coming on a lot.
Yeah.
Green is a big color in appliances, in cabinetry, in paint, and in wall covering. So when we're looking at the stripe, we're looking at either figuring out the orientation. So are we going to railroad it? Is the stripe going to go horizontal, or is the stripe going to go vertical? So what we're doing with the stripe in the space.
Right.
But this is a great wall covering accent for a space. Don't forget about a stripe. So we love stripes.
Okay.
Prints.
Oh, we're getting close to my grandma's
Wow,
wallpaper, I
we're
think.
getting back to grandma prints. So this is the
Oh, I
new
kinda like
floral.
that.
I know.
I'm so
I know.
old. What's
I know.
happening?
This is the new floral, right? So we're not
That's
thinking
cool.
old flocked paper
Right.
anymore, right? We're thinking of nice, bold, bright color prints, right? And so we see the green in here. We're seeing reds and purples and all sorts of other colors in here. But as I just flipped through that book,
Oh,
you see
I saw a leopard.
She saw it.
I saw a leopard.
She saw a leopard, right? So you can see lots of different ways that we can accent spaces.
Yeah.
This is something great for a stairwell, believe
That's
it or not.
cool.
If this is, you're walking into a home
Yeah.
that's got a lot of texture in the home, put this on the stairwell and bam, you know, you've got some fun. So yeah, we just put,
All right,
actually just
one
use
more.
this one. See?
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did.
is that a? Oh, it's a peacock.
It's a
It's like a
peacock.
peacock at the
There
zoo
you
that
go.
eats your French fries.
There you go.
From American Coney Island.
You're bringing us all together
I
here.
am. I'm looping it all together,
That's
Mary.
right. So I just like to show some different
Yeah,
things
no,
so
these
people
are
can have some
awesome.
different views. And I brought some fabric too, just to always show combinations, because wall covering is sometimes not good by itself.
Oh.
You need some fabric in the space to help balance the wallpaper. So at our firm, balance is always something we talk about a lot, right? So
Okay.
if you're doing a window treatment on one wall, maybe you have this fabric, and then you do the opposite wall, opposite the window,
Okay.
in some sort of wallpaper. So you have texture and pattern balancing each
That
other.
is so cool. And
It
these-
looks good on you.
I know, right?
That's
I need
right.
this- I need this made into a sweater.
There you go.
I'm keeping this.
There you go. It's yours. It's yours. You gave me a button. I'll give you a favor.
Exactly. Okay, so real quick, what is that?
Grass cloth. So
Oh.
grass cloth is my favorite. If you're a client of mine, I've probably talked to you about grass cloth. And we're showing it here in a metallic. So
Okay.
this whole book is full of metallic grass cloth. So the traditional grass cloth, people have known grass cloth for years. It's a great way, again, from the biophilic standpoint, to bring texture and nature indoors. But when we add this metallic accent to it, so in here you're looking at gold, you're looking at, there's some silver running through some, yep, see you found one you like, to match your metallic nails.
I know, right?
So it brings a lot of different texture, as well as that little bit of sheen to the space to add a pop. So these are great.
Where, I mean, living rooms, bedrooms, where?
Bedrooms are great behind the headboard.
Okay.
Living rooms are also great. This can go into a powder room. I wouldn't put grass cloth super near water sources, just to make sure that it lasts for a long time. So make
Right.
sure you have a nice backsplash or something around it. But it's great as an accent. Bedrooms are really popular for this.
That is so cool. It's
Very
so
good.
pretty. Okay, so one more question for you.
Yes.
What is your favorite color?
Ooh, it's a good question. Whatever my client's favorite color is what my favorite color is at the time. It depends on the room. I'm gonna say green though. That's for you, Jackie, out there. Yeah, I'm gonna say green.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
I love all of this. I've gotten a new sweater. I'm like just
Yeah,
scooping
you're
it
winning
all.
here
I am
today.
winning
That's
here.
right.
I am winning big today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And again, that is Veronica. Thanks so much. And anyone who wants to read you on their home, how do they get in touch with you, of course?
You can find us at simmonscodesign.com. That's SIMMONSCODESIGN, and also on Facebook and Instagram, same handle.
Okay, thanks so much. Well, speaking of redoing something, Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores is doing something very cool with Pyrex. I had to see it for myself to believe it. Let's watch. I am at one of my favorite hangouts, Time Warp Vintage, and I'm with Jason. And Jason, this is so cool. Every time I walk in here, I recognize something from my childhood. This, my grandmother had the whole set, which I believe is Corral?
Corral.
Corral. Okay, but you have something awesome that you guys have just started. It is Pyrex, but like accessorizing Pyrex.
It is, and that's golden butterfly, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
It is like this here. The milk glass bowls are Pyrex.
Okay.
But they did not have these patterns on them. And these are a Pyrex pattern or a vintage 1960s pattern that you would find on several different types of things. But they came in like this.
Oh.
So this is what this would originally look like.
Right.
And we had somebody who came in and they're like, oh, I have the cups or whatever, but I need the bowls and I can't find the bowls. Well, guess what? We can add
So you added those?
the design. We did. And we have the vinyl appliques. here, as you
Right.
can see,
Okay.
that we added to this. And the process is pretty cool because it allows you to be able to hand wash these. You can put hot stuff in them, but you can't bake in them or cook
put 'em in the
them.
dishwasher, right?
Or put them in the dishwasher.
Okay.
We don't recommend you put any of your Pyrex in the
Okay, so
dishwasher.
no Pyrex in dishwasher
At
ever.
all.
Okay,
Ever.
got that.
But because if you found these bowls, they could be several $100s,
Yeah,
you know,
they're
up to
expensive,
$500. They could. You buy a set of 3 cheaper bowls, and we can add the applique for a small fee onto it,
That is
and
so
boom,
awesome.
you have a $400 set of bowls normally
Right.
for, you know, much cheaper.
That is so awesome. And what a great gift for maybe a wedding
absolutely.
shower, even not too soon to think about Halloween, or of course, even Christmas. So come in
Yeah.
and check out all the Pyrex and all the other treasures here at Time Warp Vintage. And of course, they have so many cool designs that they can add to your Pyrex, and it is never too soon to think about the holidays. Time Warp Vintage, one of my favorite stores. Go say hi to Jason and Steve. Well, it is time for our Great Lakes Made segment, and iconic is the word often used when referring to American Coney Island. Grace Quiros is the owner, and Grace, American Coney Island still growing strong, and of course, you've also supplied today's amazing giveaway, so thank you for this.
Yeah, we got a Coney kit.
I'm so excited
You can
about
get it
this.
shipped right to your door, AmericanConeyIsland.com. We process through Goldbelly.
Okay.
July 4th is coming up.
Yes.
Better time, you can cook them in your backyard.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about American Coney Island for a minute, because
Yes.
you guys are been around for over 100 years.
We're the oldest family-owned business in Detroit, if not state of Michigan. And when I'm same family, same people. We're 3 generations.
Three,
My
right?
grandfather, my father, myself, and my brother Chris. So it is the same family. There may be a couple other ones that are been there a few more years, but they've changed hands and ownership, and they are not same family.
Okay, so through all of these years that you guys have been in business, how have you seen Detroit change? I mean, it's pretty phenomenal, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen. So let's just start with old Detroit, new Detroit. I hate that term.
Okay.
Because you know what? Detroit is Detroit. And we've been there through all of it. We've seen awesomeness. We've seen the pits. We've seen it all. So yes, Detroit is definitely, I don't like comeback. I don't like saying that. It's improving. I love development. I love seeing it. But these things should have been going on all along. A lot of factors. We won't get into the political side or the money side or any of that. You can have me here all day.
Right. Again, don't call Brooke.
Right. It's like, where have you been? We are Detroit.
Right.
Been there,
Done.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else, Johnny come latelys.
Right. So
Anyway.
you guys have been there, and it's so funny. So I have to tell you a funny story. So I was at the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Yes.
And I had walked to this one restaurant, and I got lost because I'm directionally challenged sometimes.
Well, there's a lot going
there
on.
was a
Everything's
lot- there was-
closed
and
up,
it was,
people
kinda
everywhere.
confusing.
It's so confusing.
So I came in, and you guys were hustling, and
It's crazy.
And you're open on Christmas.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
People expect us to, they want, there's families that I would hate to hurt their feelings and close on those days. There's traditions of them.
There are
We bring our
traditions.
families, they're in from out of town, the holidays. And yeah, we're not open all day for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, but we're
Right.
going to be open just enough so everyone get their fix. It's part of their tradition, just like
Yes.
going to the Lions. And that makes us happy too. Like, we look forward to it. It's a lot of
So
fun.
you probably see kind of like the same families year after
We've
year,
seen
right?
them multiply with the traditions over the years. I mean, I took over from my dad 30 some years ago now, and they brought in their kids, and now their kids are bringing in their kids.
That's pretty cool.
And it just gives you this, that's what makes it all worth it. When
That's
you
what
have
makes
those
Detroit,
stressful
right?
that's what makes Detroit.
That's what
yeah.
makes it Detroit. So you have, there's a restaurant in Vegas,
Yes,
isn't
there is.
there?
Yep, there
Okay.
sure is. Been there for 12 years now.
Okay,
My
so-
brother's in Vegas this week, actually. We kind of back and forth.
You go back and forth?
Yep.
Okay, so what's so funny is that I lived in California for 25 years. And, you know, there are certain things that you miss when you are
Yeah.
out on the West Coast and you're from the
Yes.
Midwest, right? So
Yeah.
Coney dogs were one, and of course, apple cider.
Right.
Right, my
Yeah,
mom tried to send
exactly.
me apple cider one time. It blew up in the mail. It was so
yeah.
bad. So I'm glad to say that these Coney kits will make it through the
Shipping's
mail.
a challenge. Yes, it took me a minute to figure it out. Dry
Right.
ice, it goes into, this
Yeah.
5-pound thing turns into like an 18-pound box, but it
Right.
gets there and it won't blow up.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So that's good.
You'll be good.
Right?
You're,
That
you're
is
good. Yes.
Okay. So you guys are open 365 days. a
We're
year?
open every day. Yes, we're not 24/7 anymore. COVID changed some of those. I found out I don't need to be open from 2 in the morning till 5 in the morning.
Okay. Nobody
so-
wants a Coney dog during that time.
Well, even if they
might,
do,
but-
we're going to be closed. So, yeah.
Okay.
No one's wandering around down there.
And then Vegas store.
Vegas location is 24/7. I mean, it's Vegas. It's insane.
yeah.
I mean, our hot dog is proprietary. It's
Yeah.
only made for us by Dearborn Sausage. Chili's our own chili company. And come downtown and visit.
So it's so funny. So tell me what's in this kit.
Well, here, let's open
Oh,
it
can
up
we
and
open
show
it?
everybody.
I wasn't sure. Oh, there it is.
There it is. So you get a hat. This is very important.
Oh, that is awesome.
I'll get a call every once in a while from like someone who ordered it for a family. Go, you know what? I received the Coney kit, but we have a serious problem. I go, what's the problem? She goes, I have 4 kids. There's one hat
one
in there.
hat.
Oh my God, don't worry about it. We'll ship it to you. So it's got the hot dogs.
Right.
Those will come frozen. The chili comes frozen solid. The onion and the bun will come fresh. And there it is.
There it is. And an actual.
It's 12 in there.
A real onion. That is so
It's
funny.
a real
It's
onion.
A real
It's a
onion.
real onion. If you don't want onions, cook it with your meatloaf. I don't know. Do something with it.
Do something
yeah,
with it.
exactly. And everybody has mustard at home. So if you want to send me an email saying, why isn't there mustard in there? Y'all have mustard at home.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned mustard
Yes.
because how do you feel about ketchup on a Coney dog?
No.
Okay, just checking. I thought that's the rumor I had heard.
Put it on your fries. Don't put it on your hot dog.
Put it on your chili cheese fries, right?
That was, hey, anywhere but that.
Anywhere but that.
We don't offer the ketchup for that. And when people come to like
Yeah.
the carry out, and I'm working the carry out, and they'll say, okay, I want 2 Conies to go, everything on them and ketchup, and I go, here's the bottle, here's the hot dogs. I won't do it.
Okay,
It's like the Coney Nazi, I don't know. So.
You're like, I'm not doing it, I refuse. Okay, so 4th of July coming up.
4th of July is coming up. Put your orders in now. It's
Okay.
a crazy time of year. AmericanConeyIsland.com. It'll take you right to our Goldbelly page.
Okay.
And order it and you'll have it.
Okay, so nationwide?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
nationwide, what's the turnaround? I mean, if they want to order this,
You order
when
it,
do they
it
get
gets you within a week. We
Okay.
ship out only on Mondays because you need to give FedEx and UPS and all them time to.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
We have talked many times over the phone.
Yes, we have.
And so it's nice to meet you in person finally.
It's nice to be here. I appreciate
no,
it.
thank you.
But
And-
I need a button.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. What is up with me? I'm not used to this merch, man. I'm so
Merch.
excited.
It's all about the merch.
It's all about the merch. Here, take 2.
Yeah, there you go. I should just pin
Take
them
one
all
for your
around
brother.
everybody. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Pin them all over. And of course, this is our giveaway today. So remember, you just need to like, follow, and comment with the number 33. We will announce the winner with Jason in just a few minutes. Well, if you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, thank you so much for being with us today. There is a topic with some scary statistics. Approximately 100,000 people die every year of a drug overdose, but the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities Harm Reduction, they are changing those numbers. Steve Norris is the director, and Steve, can you kind of explain what harm reduction is?
Sure. I want to just say that we've started to use different language around this issue.
Okay.
So we are primarily responsible for overdose prevention. We're a prevention organization at our core, and some things that harm reduction agencies or organizations do across the state and nation, we don't actually do. So
Okay.
with that said,
Right.
harm reduction in general is meeting people where they're at during their time of chaotic or use with substances that prevents them from, unfortunately, some of those statistics, which is ultimately death.
Right. So how do you, I mean, you have a number of ways that you do this, and tell me what the top one is.
So one of the ways that we do it as an organization is we distribute naloxone, which most of the community would know as Narcan.
Yes.
Naloxone is the antidote for an accidental overdose or accidental poisoning, which we see at record rates, especially here in Michigan currently, at about 82%. So we lost about 3,000 Michiganders last year due to this significant issue. And a lot of those people were not actually people that you would deem someone who had a substance use or addiction issue.
So what's interesting too is that you just kind of said it, but you hear a lot of times that somebody took something
Yes.
for the first time,
Yep.
and they didn't know really what was in it.
So many times, and this is why it's very difficult right now, because there is a lot of stigma in talking about language, right?
Yes, for sure.
We have to update our language so often so that we can really deal with the issue in a non-stigmatizing way. So a lot of what we're seeing now is not actually people that would be privy to that type of world or exposure falling victim to receiving substances that could be actually poisoning them.
So how do we reduce the stigma of this?
We have to have a conversation.
Yep.
We have to have an uncomfortable conversation, which a lot of people do not like to have very often. And we also have to have a conversation that can be sometimes contentious or argumentative to get to the other side of it, to get to the positive side of it. So there is such a thing as having a healthy argument. I know we don't always see that in our
Right,
world today,
right.
But we can't have that.
So how do families, I mean, there's a way for families to step in, right?
Yes.
And you guys kind of help that as well?
Yeah, there's so many ways that families can have, and again, it revolves around having conversations, transparent, honest, open, conversations. One of the most difficult things to do, especially someone who's facing a substance use disorder, is to assume that we may know what they need. So providing a solution, but actually getting in the front of it, having that conversation, and encouraging someone to take action for their own life that suits their individual needs is kind of the essence of harm reduction in a way.
How do you do that, though?
Well, you start having open dialogue about, hey, are you aware that these things are happening? Are you aware that children in your school are exposed to these? And we've had multiple scenarios in Oakland County where we've lost children that we don't want to talk about because it's not a comfortable conversation. The beautiful part about that on the other side is that some of those tragedies can really produce positive change and really kind of stimulate a conversation that people aren't willing to have.
So it is uncomfortable because, you know, people, the stigma with drug addiction or even the embarrassment or shame that goes with it. And people, you know, people do have a hard time asking for help. And I think that's part of it, because if you think, oh, you know, suddenly I realize I'm taking too many painkillers, or I had surgery and now I can't stop taking these, or I want more. And I think that even that would warrant a conversation. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also very important in this space to have people that have lived experience, such as myself. So I'm actually going to celebrate 10 years of abstinence and sobriety, 7/10. Thank you.
That is awesome.
What that does is it gives people the courage to share about things they're struggling with, and then also to know that they're not alone out there in what they're dealing with, whether it be mental health, whether it be substances, whether it be another unhealthy coping mechanism. Until we share that with people, we really can't find a solution all by ourselves.
And, you know, by you saying that, and, you know, people who are recovering or, you know, sober now or whatever, you know, and I'm sorry, I may not be using the right language, I don't know.
Screwed up.
But,
I do it all the time.
But the whole idea that you're being vulnerable and sharing that, but you're letting them know that you can get to the other side.
Yeah, that's where the hope is. You know, we've often thought that dealing with addiction issues, it's over. It's the end of it all. And the truth is, there's such a beautiful life on the other side of it, because it's not just the substances we're dealing with. It's changes in our lifestyle. It's changes in our behavior that really help our community, the people that are close to us, the people we love, and we actually get to contribute in their lives in such a positive way that it's something to actually be proud of.
So if somebody is in recovery and they want to maybe volunteer, or if somebody needs help, or if a family member, the list goes on.
All of the above.
Right? If a family member knows somebody needs help. Can they reach out to you, or how does that work?
Sure, we would love to hear from them. So we host a recovery support program 7 days a week. We do lots of programming around that. They can reach out to us via our website, which is achcmi.org, or just look us up on the internet and give us a call, and I'll be on the other line.
You'll be on the other line and be like, hello.
Yes.
What is your one piece of advice for somebody who may have just realized that they do have a problem?
Don't do it by yourself, and reach out. There's many of us out here that want to encourage and support, and you don't have to do it alone.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. You get a button.
All right, finally. Yay.
Thank you so much. And again, that is Steve Norris. And you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. And of course, our coffee of the day is sponsored by Blue Hat Coffee Gallery. They have some amazing treats. Of course, they are based in downtown Farmington. Let's go ahead and watch this video, because they're scones and croissants, not to mention that they roast their own coffee and they make their own syrups. It is one of my favorite coffee places. They have this beautiful patio that I love to hang out there on, and I do drink hot coffee in any temperature, but I can tell you that their iced matcha is very good. It's not a coffee, but it is very good. I will own that I don't always drink coffee. And of course, their iced coffee is delicious. They are open 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. They have game nights. They have a beautiful, it is called Blue Hat Coffee Gallery, because they actually do have a gallery there. So they've got art on the walls, and they also have some beautiful jewelry that Philip's wife has created herself, or it may be vintage. So you certainly want to check them out. And their Ethiopian coffee, which they do roast themselves, is really, really good. Well, Caffeinated Conversations After Dark. That show was May 21st at the Heights Brewery, literally across the street from Blue Hat Coffee Gallery. And just last week, Jason and I had the chance to present the check to Paula Love and Susie Strong from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Let's watch.
I want to bring Sue in here because Sue was actually instrumental in actually helping formulate the idea with Jason and his team. But the idea is meeting drinkers where they are. You know, the idea is meeting drinkers where they are. That way we can, you know, begin to share the message that, you know, MADD isn't against drinking. It's just if you decide to drink, just please don't drive. You have options out there, designated driver, ride share. But we are so grateful for this sizable donation and for your time and commitment, Brooke and Jason. We greatly appreciate this.
Well, thank you so much. And, you know, I just have to say thank you all, Christina, Taylor, everyone, for believing in us and trusting us to handle the show and do it with respect and dignity and also to get the message out. So $2,700. I'm excited, and I'm excited for our next show, so stay tuned. And of course, our next After Dark show is being planned. We will announce those details soon. But now, let's announce the winner of our American Coney Island kit. Jason, tell me, is it me?
Well, no, unfortunately not. It is Maria Palomino.
Oh.
Which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
So, Maria, we will
Maria.
contact you after the show and set up a time to get this to you.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yes,
awesome.
Congratulations. We love that. And, you know, Jason, we had David King on earlier, and, you know, I just wanted to say that you and Steve, of course, your husband, such big supporters of the show. And you guys have been together for how long?
We've been married for 7 years, but we've been together for 25.
Okay. And you guys work together, much
We
like
do.
David
We work together,
and Jeffrey,
we live
right?
together. Yes,
right?
it can be difficult.
It can be difficult.
I'm going to tell you, you know, my husband didn't come out until he was in his 20s, and I came out when I was in my teens. And just for everybody out there who needs the emotional and support, you know, go to your local affiliations like Affirmation or even a friend, because you are not alone. You're not alone, and there's always somebody you can speak to.
And it's so important to, like Steve just said, I mean, you have to talk about things.
You do. You have
Right.
to understand.
Right. So you have to understand. So that's what we're doing. So thank you so much. I appreciate
Absolutely.
everything you do for the show
I
and
enjoy it.
everything that everyone here does. Of course, we want to say thank you to Michigan TV, Dave Scott, Jared in the control room, and Erin, who produced the show today, and her daughter Beatrice also helping us out. And of course, everyone here in our live audience today. Prove you're here. Come on. And for all of you watching, of course, keep the coffee hot or iced, but just make sure it is strong. See you next week. Thank you so much for today. Bye-bye.
Bye.